Dave, here we are at the workbench, and we're talking about rigs and techniques when it comes to surf and wading. You know?
Yeah, we're going to talk about wading too.
It's just so important that we talk to people that don't have a boat as well as people that want to get out of the boat.
I didn't have a boat for the longest time because my wife is a very smart lady and wouldn't let me get one because you know, I like to spend money on my boat. She likes to squash my spending habits. But when because I'm not putting a whole lot into the hat compared to what she is. Anyway, when I was going fishing, I was walking, you know, and I was standing on the beach or I was going wading, and I really love to wade. It's still one of my favorite ways to fish because, you know, even when I go surf fishing, I'm usually standing in the water most of the day, and it's I just went the other day, and it was a great day to just be standing out there. When it's really hot, you know, you can be standing up to your waist sometimes and just feel comfortable, and it's just a great way to commune with nature and get up in the fish and get close to them, which is very important a lot of times. Wading is great because you're very stealthy. You know, you can get out there and get right up on fish that you otherwise would spook in a boat or even a small skiff or a canoe or even a kayak. You can't get as close as you can when you're wading. I mean, I've had fish come in schools and go right through my legs, you know, and they didn't even know it. They didn't care I was there. So it's a great way to do that. And, you know, and while it's nice to be out there all by yourself, communing with nature, just make sure that you have a buddy with you somewhere. Because, you know, things can happen when you're out by yourself, you know, so always make sure that you have another fellow with you if you can. You know, I go a lot by myself, but I'm always looking around and making sure, you know, there's alligators and stuff where we fish, and there's always sharks and stingrays and stuff like that. So you want to keep, you know, be aware of your surroundings when you're out there. So
what do you want to use?
Well, if you're on the beach, first you want to find a spot on the beach that is conducive. And, you know, beaches look the same if you're not, you know, looking for certain things. And you're wanting to find is a food chain, you know, fish jumping or a cut that's got a gut that's got a big cut in it. You know, what happens is on the coastline is you'll have a couple sandbars usually. And what happens is during the tides is the water will get up beyond the sandbar, up close to the shore, and it has to find a way to get out. And when it does, it'll cut a channel. And if you're looking, you can see those channel marks in those guts, you know, between the guts. And it's a great to fish in the gut, but when you can find those cuts that are going out, those riptides, as it were,
the X points,
those exit points, that's where the predators are going to be. They're either going to be right in the middle of it or on either side of it. This past weekend, I walked the beach a good quarter mile before I found a good spot, and my buddies that were with me were griping, "What's wrong with this spot? What's wrong with this spot?" I said, right up there, you can see that it's all going off. You know, there was birds and dolphins and porpoises out there, and I said, that's where it's happening, so that's where we got to be. And it's the same when you're wading inshore. You know, you look for the birds, you look for the bait, and you try to start, you know, in those areas where something's happening.
Yeah.
If it's all just the same, and you start fishing and you're not catching anything, move.
Right.
The guys who catch a lot of fish, either wading or, well, mostly not wading, but on the surf, is they'll get in their truck and they'll take off if they don't get a bite in 20 minutes.
Right.
They're not carrying all their stuff down to the beach, right? You know,
right from the
get-go.
Right.
You know, you want to go down there and try it for 20 minutes if you got a lot of stuff to bring. But, you know, if you don't, this Alvy side cast is a great way for you, even a novice angler, to make really, really long casts. And, you know, if you're in an area where you need to get, you know, 200 feet or 300 feet out past the second gut to get a bite, it's a great thing to have. Now, I got 20-pound test mono on there, but if you put 14-pound braid on top of that and cast with the braid, you can cast it out of sight. I mean, 14-pound...
Especially with 11 or 12-foot rod.
Yeah, and a 14-pound braid, I don't know where it breaks, but it's probably, our 15-pound braid is probably well above 15 pounds.
Of course.
And it just casts a mile. And it not only when you're going to, do you want to have a long cast rod, you want to bring something that you can work the shallow guts. You make a long cast with your baits, your crabs or your shrimp on your fish bites, and get it way out there in a good spot. But then, while that's out there working, you pick up your Alvy orbiter, your 200, and go out there and cast plugs. I love to cast, you know, like topwater plugs or a big mirror lure, anything in those guts, and try to get the the predators to jump on something that I'm throwing at them. And that's, you know.
Can you believe you went through 5 minutes that fast?
No, I can't believe it.
Story time with Dave Farrell.